Now, 450 troops are additional military personnel are what is necessary to fulfill this expanded advise and assist and training mission.
More U.S. troops headed to Iraq to fight ISIS, and the president faces more criticism for what some call a lack of strategy. Geoffrey Wawro is here to talk about it. He's the Director of Military History Center at the University of North Texas and the author of the book Quicksand, America's Pursuit of Power in the Middle East. Thank you so much for coming in.
Dan, thanks for having me.
Okay, so what do you think of the president's latest announcement? 450 troops, almost all of them to train Iraqi security forces.
Yeah, well, about a quarter of them to train the Iraqi security forces, and then about three-quarters to provide supplies and security for this expanding. This is our fifth train, advise, and assist base in Iraq. This one is located in the heart of Sunni country. So now we're going to have troops there that can actually train up these 7th and 8th divisions of the Iraqi army that should be largely Sunni.
And Sunni is significant because ISIS is primarily...
Yeah, well, ISIS is a Sunni movement that is coming into Iraq with such success because they're feeding on Sunni grievances against this corrupt and Shia-led government, which under Maliki was horrible. Under Abadi is supposedly better, but for Sunnis who have a long memory, you know, they're very suspicious about this Iraqi state.
Okay, so what the president's doing, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I think he has to do something. You know, I think he's very reluctant to embark. He feels like he inherited this war, he wound it down, he got out, the place fell apart. He doesn't want to wade back in, but he has to because the pressure that the ISIS is putting on the region is intense, and it's not only kind of inflaming Sunnis around the region, but it's drawing in Iran, drawing in Hezbollah from Lebanon, which is fighting as a proxy of Iran. So something has to be done to sort of push back ISIS and yet not permit Iran to become too powerful. It's a very delicate game he's playing.
And so if you accept the idea that we have to crush ISIS, is this really going to work? You're hearing voices, the Republican Party mostly saying, you know, we got to get real and do more. And what about the idea of troops?
Well, let's be clear. What ISIS really wants is they want a huge American military presence there. They want America to come back in with boots on the ground, with heavy, airstrikes, with troops moving around, so they have more targets to attack. They can take hostages, that sort of thing. But also, it gives them more credibility. We're so powerful, the U.S. is having to insert troops. I think the Obama strategy is about right in the sense that it sort of gives us space in order to try to rebuild this Iraqi state, because to partition it is going to just strengthen Iran all the more. They will then dominate all the oil in Iraq, and they'll have total domination over this little Sunni state and this little Kurdish state. So we need to try to bring them along, and yet we don't want to do all of Iran's heavy lifting by going in there and smashing ISIS and giving ISIS a propaganda victory by us going in there. So by sort of letting the Iraqis train up and defend themselves and bring in the regional allies that are also Sunni, I think that we have better prospects doing that.
It seems like there should be more countries involved in this. It just seems like if the world gets focused on crushing ISIS, I mean, yes, they're fanatical, but they can't stand up to a coordinated world effort, it would seem, both countries in the region and then Europe and us.
Yeah, well, I mean, Europe is doing very little. I mean, the British are going to send 125 trainers to assist our, 3,500 trainers. And nobody else is doing much. The regional allies need to be doing more. The Saudis, the Jordanians, the Turks, right? But they're all very leery of this struggle because they don't want to crush ISIS and empower Iran, because this is really a sectarian conflict spanning the entire Middle East between the Shias and the Sunnis. And so all of these Sunni states, like Saudi Arabia, are very leery about crushing ISIS because that will merely make Iran stronger. So they're all sort of tiptoeing around this issue and hoping somebody else will do the heavy lifting. And so it's a very delicate thing that Obama's doing.
Yes, indeed it is. Geoffrey Wawro, thank you so much for the insight. Again, Geoffrey's book, Quicksand, America's Pursuit of Power in the Middle East.